Welcome to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Slasher Movie Club, Monday nights, 8 o'clock. You know what's up. Coriander's with me as usual. How's it going, dear heart?
Pretty good. How are you?
I'm doing really, really well, and this is going to be an interesting episode for us, a special one. We are going to be talking about 2001's Valentine, directed by Jamie Blanks, and starring a whole crap load of stars that we know, including Marley Shelton, David Boreanaz, and Denise Richards, and Katherine Heigl, and Tom and Jerry, and everyone else. Anyways,
I'm
a
sorry.
lot of great people in this. A
Right?
lot of great people. All right.
I
So let's
agree.
let's see who we have in the chat, and we do have some special guests that we'll be bringing on in a second. And just to say hello to the folks that are here, we got Russell's in the chat, of course. Russell's in the
Hello.
chat. All right, and we
Nice.
got the Myers fan is in the chat. What's up, man? Saying I love this movie.
Hello.
Great to see you. Great to see you. All right. Of course, the general is in the chat, and
Hey.
Val is ride or die. She is here and ready to rock
She
and
is.
roll. Yes, yes, absolutely. Um, and she was saying, I really loved this one too. Didn't think I would. Thought it was going to be a complete ripoff of My Bloody Valentine. All right,
Yeah.
very
Nice.
cool, very cool.
Mm-hmm.
And we got Dan. Of course, Dan's in the chat with us. What's going on, Dan? Hey guys, happy
Hello.
October. Happy
Mm.
October to you too, man. Thank you so much.
Right?
We appreciate that. We got Wayne. Wayne's in the chat. All right.
Hello.
All the way from Australia. Um, let's see, who else do we have? I saw a couple of the people. We got Jennifer's in the chat. Popping on for a bit. My daughter has a doctor's
Nice.
appointment, so I'll have to hop off then. Well, thank you for
All
stopping
right.
by, Jennifer. We
Yeah.
appreciate it. Let's see. Nanette's here as well, and also Blucka.
Hello.
All right.
Hey.
What is going on? Mega Giants as well. All right.
Nice.
We got the crew here. Uh our good friend Eric from Hey Internet, Eric here, and the Two Bearded Losers podcast saying, I've never seen this. I'll have to check it out just based on
Oh,
how often it's requested for Slasher Movie Club. Exactly, bro. See, Eric, me and Eric, man, he knows because so many people have asked us to do this movie, and here we are. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. But it's
yeah.
worth it. Yeah, I think I'd love to hear your thoughts on it, Eric. I really would.
Yep.
Um, Sean's in the chat. What's up, Sean? And
Hello.
also Magnet saying, "What's up, Nightwatch? What's going on? Welcome to the
Hey.
chat, guys. Welcome, welcome. And please don't forget to hit the like button. That would help to support the channel.
Yeah.
Our good friend Ginger Ninja's in the chat too. What's
Nice.
going on? All right, man. Ginger Ninja's ride or die. So is Cray Dre. What's up, man? What's up? What's up? Well, guys, we're not going to do this thing alone. On Slasher Movie Club, every once in a while, you got to talk to other folks, especially folks that might know a lot about the movies that you're going to be talking about. And so, yeah, this is going to be a lot of fun. So let's bring on our first guest. You know him. He's been around the channel quite a bit. Good friend of ours, brother of the Lethal Collective, which, by the way, we've been striving to hit 1K. You know him, craving something scary, my buddy Steven. What's
Hey
going?
guys.
Hey,
Hello.
Hey,
what's going on?
Welcome.
thank you. And I have to
Yeah.
extend my appreciation to both of you, and especially Coriander for you
Yeah.
last weekend when you dropped the invitation live on a live stream, and I was like, so that's so cool. So thank you guys for making
Yeah.
a spot for me tonight. This is great.
Yeah, we're glad that you
Mm-hmm.
could make it. It's
Me
like,
too.
Right?
I know usually, this isn't the
True.
greatest time for you. So,
That's
so this
true.
is definitely special for us.
Ah,
Oh,
yeah, it
same
is.
here, man. Same here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Ah,
also, we have another very special guest who is just an amazing content creator and supporter of this channel and the community, and also one of our fearsome mods. You know her from the live chat. She's absolutely amazing. Let's bring on Carrie from Carrie Craves Cinema. Hey.
Hey.
Hello,
nice.
everyone. Thank you for letting
Hello.
me invite myself.
Hey, look,
Yeah, no.
sometimes
It's
when people ask you shall receive.
Well,
Yeah.
technically,
true.
we were talking about it prior, so
Yes, that is true. Carrie, listen, I'm gonna give Carrie some credit, and I'm not talking about like, like a dog on a bone, but I'm just saying, she said, whenever we do this, we got to have her on. And I'm always very open to that because it's fun talking movies with friends. So I'm just
Yeah.
glad that this
Yeah.
worked out for you guys.
yes,
Same.
I'm glad
Definitely.
too.
And I love the
Yes.
background, Carrie. I just have to tell you, that's
Right?
that's
I
really good.
know.
I'm
I
staring
love
at it. I'm like,
it.
ooh.
It is cool.
I
Yes.
want it on. I want it as a poster.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Uh Ginger Ninja saying, I saw this in the cinema on a date. There you go. I
Nice.
love
Oh
it.
yeah, that's the
Yeah.
best movie to watch on a date.
Yes,
Absolutely.
that's a good one. Mario's in the chat too. What's going on? Welcome, welcome, welcome. All right, guys. Well, let's talk about this movie a little bit, and also for you guys in the live chat, the way we usually do this is hopefully you guys have seen this movie or you know it, and we just have some discussion about it, and also just real quick to say hello to our brother from the collective, Killjoy Jake.
Jake.
He's in
Hello.
the chat.
And
What's
thank
up,
you,
dude?
Jake.
Yes, yes. Jake is the man, and Jordy. What's going on, Jordy?
Hey.
So yeah, this is an interesting movie because, and Stephen, we've talked about this a little bit.
Yes.
It's post Scream,
Mhm.
and it's one of those movies. There were a lot of movies that came out after Scream, and they were able to either sink or swim, so to speak.
Mm.
And this particular movie is very, very interesting. Um, as far as everything about it,
Yeah.
when I rewatched it, it was the first time I had seen it in quite a few years.
Mhm.
That was the same for you too, right, Coriander?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So it had been a while, but I'll start with you, Coriander, and then we'll go around to Stephen and then Carrie. What's your overall thoughts on this movie, especially as it began, that opening sequence, especially with Katherine Heigl?
You know, you gotta love how, urban legend and now this one, people almost thought like this one was like a reboot of or like a remake of My Bloody Valentine, which
Yeah.
it really has like nothing to do with it. So yeah, I thought this was an interesting movie. I enjoyed it. It's fun. It keeps you guessing.
Mm.
For how long, that's the question. Um, and yeah, I mean, I really don't have the cast. I mean, for who they have and the big names supposedly, I mean, yeah, this isn't a bad movie. I
Yeah.
can't really say anything too terrible.
Yeah. How about you, Stephen? As far as how this movie opened, or any particular thoughts that come to your mind?
Yes. I really love the setup, and this movie to me feels like a throwback '80s slasher,
Mm.
but with more of a budget than some of the ones
Yeah.
that that we were given. Uh, because it's your tip, and we're talking spoilers tonight, right? I want to make sure. Or
Yeah,
no,
yeah. Once we
later
get
on. Later on.
to the
Okay.
end, yeah, we'll definitely do that
Okay.
because,
All right. I'll
yeah,
save it.
I
I'll
think we
save
should.
it. Yeah. All right. Then I'll stay high level. So I like the opening. I like the setup. I like
Mm.
how this movie has a lot of elements to it that I think borrowed from some of the success that we saw in Scream. But unlike a lot of those movies that
Mhm.
tried to follow in the Scream footsteps, this one landed it.
Mm.
Actually, I thought it very much pulled it off. So kills were good, creative, and chase scenes. If you like chase scenes, you're gonna like this movie.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I'm telling you,
That was
you're
good.
not at a loss for that. So
Right.
overall, for me, it really does punch a lot of the boxes for me, and it's interesting because my second favorite, or no, this is my second favorite post Scream slasher movie era.
Hmm.
The first one is Urban Legend, which is the same director.
That's
Uh,
right.
so I don't know if that's coincidence or if it's brilliance, but whatever it is, I like it.
Mm. Good
So
point.
it's a
Good
good
point.
movie. Both good movies.
Yeah. Yeah, and like you were saying, it had that 80s type of vibe, but it
Hmm.
definitely was had the budget.
Modernized. It felt more
Yes,
Yes,
modernized too.
that's right.
yes, yes. That's a good point, Carrie. It definitely felt
Yeah.
more modernized, but without,
Hmm.
but it didn't alienate it though. It's
Mm-mm.
modernized,
No.
but not to the point where it's like, okay, I'm not getting any of that charm from
Hmm.
the great slashers of yesteryear. So
And the
uh,
motive, all I'm going to say, the motive is classic 80s slasher motive
yes,
for
Yeah.
the
yeah.
killer.
Right from the beginning, man. I mean, you
Hmm.
see, you see Jeremy getting totally humiliated
Oh,
in front of everyone. You got the bullies that are just
Yeah.
crappy. They're dumping the
Hmm.
punch on him, which is basically
oh,
that's a nod to you. That's a Carrie nod right there.
yes, it is.
Coriander. I know you enjoyed that. Um, but Carrie, now just to get to you for a second and to park here for a second, this is a movie that's very special to you. Tell us, if you can, tell us why it's special and maybe kind of how that connection began.
I mean, I just remember that I saw this in the back in the days with the pay-per-view. We ordered it, and I just remember falling in love with it instantly. Like, I just remember some of those scenes, especially in the beginning. Yes, that scene, I absolutely, like, for some reason, that scene is what made me fall in love with the entire film. Like,
Yeah.
I
Right.
just loved the build of the suspense, and I
Hmm.
for the rest of the movie, it could have done whatever it wanted, but
Hmm.
it nailed it. It landed, and all of the actors, the actresses, yes, they're all star actresses. It's an all star cast, but they each and every character, the red herrings were like popping all over the place, and
Yeah.
you didn't know who was doing it because it could have been anybody at that point, and I
Hmm.
loved that. I loved the mystery because
Hmm.
we don't get those classic whodunits that
Hmm.
much, and
Right.
this movie nailed it.
Mm. Well
And I
said. Very
love the
well said.
Cupid. I love the Cupid mask.
Yeah, it was very, look,
Yeah, look at
this could
that.
have gone into dark
Hokey.
territory, guys.
Yes.
It could
I mean,
have.
Yes, it could.
they took a chance, baby. I mean, this could have gone the wrong
But
way.
the black coat and the
Yeah.
boots, it worked.
Yep.
It
Hmm.
worked.
Hmm.
The
Yeah.
dark shadows when he walks down the hallway, like it worked.
Very
And I,
menacing. No,
I
no
just want to
doubt
throw
about
in
that.
real quick too, Knight, to piggyback on that. One thing that I thought they did really well, because like you talk about the mystery, they
Hmm.
threw in so many suspects. There are
Hmm.
so many
Yeah.
red herrings in this movie, and it
Yeah.
keeps you guessing. Like they don't just give you two or three people. There's a
Hmm.
there's people all over the place that could be the killer, and it just made it fun. It really made it fun,
Yeah.
and yeah. So anyway, I won't go too any further than that for now. But yeah, just brilliantly done, I thought.
Yeah. Absolutely, I
Yeah.
agree. And real quick too in the chat, just to say hello to some of the folks that have jumped in. And by the way, if you haven't, please hit the like button. We've got my man Heroic Waffles is in the chat. What's going on? Outside the
Cool
nine.
name.
Yeah, it's like the greatest name in YouTube history. um, I've told him that many times. Rob Zombie's girl's in the chat. What's going on?
Hey,
What is going on?
Hello.
Yes. Nathan's in the chat too. All right.
Yes, it is
And
a gem.
yes, I agree. Jamie's in the chat. What's up, Jamie? And also
Hey.
Katie, our good friend
hey,
Katie.
Katie, K-pop.
Yeah, what's going on?
Hope you're feeling better.
Right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Absolutely. Yes. Danny's in the chat too. What's going on? What's going
Hello.
on? Good to see you. Good to see you. So Coriander, so let's move on a little bit too. So, in the beginning, they've got this setup for this young kid that was totally humiliated.
Yeah.
And your heart goes out to him and so forth. And you've
Mm.
got the opening scene with Katherine Heigold. I mean, pretty much blink and you miss her in this movie,
Hmm.
although her name is pretty prominent, as
Yeah.
far as on this movie. But then
Yeah.
you kind of get into the meat and potatoes of things, and you start to meet the main cast and so forth, and of course meeting Marley Shelton and Denise Richards and so forth. and of course David Boreanaz as well. What did you
Oh
think of them as far as their characters? I mean, obviously they're well-known actors now, but even
Yeah.
then, I think they showed some great stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the cast was pretty good. I enjoyed all of them, you know. They each brought something different to the group of friends, and I mean, yeah, you know, it made you, you know, because I have, you know, who doesn't have a group of friends from high school or, you know, whatever that, yeah, it makes you think that, yeah, you know, this could be me and my friends, you know.
Right. Good
Yeah,
point. Yeah, I mean, it does make you think about that. Like, what if that happened to you? Some
yeah.
kid that was kind of bullied back when you were a kid, and
Who
you know, you,
wasn't?
yeah, and you weren't always
mm,
nice to that kid, and stuff is starting to
Hmm.
go down. You know, that whole mystery of the who done it. That's a great point.
Yeah.
That's a great point. Um, and I think these actresses, I think they worked pretty well together, to be honest with you. And of course, got to also mention we got Jessica Capshaw as Dorothy, uh and the daughter of Steven Spielberg, and Kate Capshaw.
Hmm.
But this cast was just great. I think, and I'll give it to you in a second here, Steven. I think David Boreanaz was really good in this role. Like, he
ugh,
just had a
yes.
lot of charisma every time he was on screen. What did you think of him specifically, Steven?
Oh, I really enjoyed him. I was a big fan of him from his other work in the '90s.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that he had that. There was this what's the word I'm looking for? That charismatic. There's an element to him where you just are kind of drawn to him. You know,
Yes.
Magnetism.
yeah,
Yes.
magnetism. Thank you.
Yes.
That's what I'm
He
looking for.
definitely has that magnetism.
He
Yeah.
does, and just the way he walks and engages with the body language, everything. He's like you feel like I like this guy. Like I think
Yeah.
he's someone that's down to earth and relatable,
Mm-hmm.
and you're rooting for him. You're rooting for him to catch the killer and figure this thing out.
Right. I agree. And of course, the idea that his character was struggling with
Yes,
alcoholism,
yes.
I thought that
Mm.
that was a really interesting wrinkle that was kind of
Hmm.
put in there, because, when you first see him, you automatically, because of just his demeanor, you automatically kind of root for him, and you assume that he's got no big issues, but
Yeah,
he really does, like, a really, really big problem with alcoholism and so forth. So,
yeah.
um, which was good though. I think it was,
Hmm.
it definitely kind of, well, we'll get into that too. But
But it makes him relatable, though, right? It makes him
yeah,
like this is a real normal person that
Yeah,
has
they
struggles.
definitely
Like
humanized him.
humanized him.
Yeah.
yeah,
Carrie's bringing in the adjectives tonight, man. I'm telling
yeah,
you,
man.
that's
I
She
like
knows
two
what's up.
words.
two for two.
Hey,
Uh,
man, she craves cinema.
she
And I
does.
crave words.
She craves words.
There you go.
I tell you, but I mean, like when they're at the graveyard, right? And
Hmm.
and they're in, and he's got the convertible, and she picks the newspaper up, and it's
Yeah.
covered in a
Hmm.
bottle of tequila in the back seat,
Hmm.
and he has that moment, like, I'm haven't had a drink in whatever, I forgot how long, but
Yeah.
anyway, it just makes him very relatable, I think, as a person, and not like some of these characters we see in these movies where they are not real. Like that is nobody I know is like
Mm.
this guy or whatever.
Yeah.
And anyway, I
Yeah.
just think it's that natural gift he has as an actor and a
Yeah.
performer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Dan was saying it too. You were rooting for him to conquer this
Hmm.
alcoholism, and you
Yeah.
didn't even really know him. And that's, again, that's a really good uh, a display of his abilities, because it's not like he had a lot of screen time at that point, you
True.
know. But interestingly enough, and I did have a couple of fun facts I wanted to throw out, um, just for the fun of it. But he almost was not going to play this role. We
Ooh.
almost had Jared, as in Jared Leto.
Jared
So
Oh.
Leto.
Yeah.
Wow.
yes, yes. So it
I
it was it,
mean,
it was almost
That would
Jared
have been
Leto.
interesting.
It
Yeah.
it
I,
it would have. It would
hmm.
have. What do
Yeah.
you
I don't
What
know
do
if
you
they
guys
would
think of
have
that?
brought. I don't know if they would have had the same feel of the character with Jared. Because I feel
Oh
like
yeah.
with David, he had like a very like I don't know. There was like a sweetness to him. I don't know.
Oh yeah. No, I know what you mean. Like a not innocence, but he just seemed like a good guy,
Yeah,
and
like
and
he.
That's
Jared
right.
I mean,
Jared
he
has kind of
had
like that darker
Angel
edge
from
to him.
Buffy under his belt, and
Yeah,
I
An angel.
mean, yes, and Angel.
that's right. Yes.
So
I
I
mean,
mean, everybody knew him, and everybody knew what he was capable of, and
yeah,
he brought it. He brought
he
it.
did.
Yeah,
I
he
mean,
did.
I've
the
always
studio.
been a Jared fan, though. Even way back in, what was that show? What show was he in?
My so-called
Um,
life.
yes. Yep.
Mm,
I
mhm.
got you.
Yeah.
I know where you're going.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the studio was the ones
He
they
was
were
good in that.
originally considering Jarrett for the role, and of course he had starred in Urban Legend. So there was a
Hmm.
lot. The one thing about this movie that's really interesting, there's a lot of different like little callbacks and bridges, and we'll talk about another one at some point down the road. But Coriander, let's also talk about some of these kill scenes. We got to talk about those things too, and also some of the red herrings and so forth. Let's start off with and this is still in the beginning of the movie, and we still don't know too much what's going on, but Kate, played by Marley, she's at home and the pipes aren't working, and she gets out of the shower, and just sometimes if you get
Yeah.
desperate, Coriander, you got to make a decision. And
You gotta
sometimes
make a decision.
that decision is to use the toilet water, which I was like, what the
No.
hell's going on? But she has that scene in the hallway where she sees the mask of the killer, and then you see her creepy ass neighbor. First of all,
Scary
what you think?
Gary.
Yeah, scary Gary. What you think of this scene, Coriander? Because it was definitely a way to kind of put him into the mix a little bit, because he was beyond creepy.
Well, I mean, for any girl who's gonna go out in the hall in a towel, you're asking for trouble. She could have at least thrown like a robe on, and then,
She's got a
it wouldn't
point.
have looked so bad. So
Right.
I get where Scary Gary was coming from, because
Yeah.
I mean, hey, whatever.
Yeah.
But I
It's a
mean,
good point.
it's crazy how
It
these people
is.
too don't lock doors. Don't we always talk about locking your doors?
Yes. Lock your doors.
Yes.
And I mean, because you see some pretty crazy shit that Scary Gary does that, damn,
Yes.
it's
I
like,
know.
wow,
I know.
I would be locking my doors. But
Right?
yeah, so
Oh man.
I mean, she's kind of smart, but she has these dumb moments too. So at
Yeah.
least things that I wouldn't do, that it's like, what the fuck are you doing, girl? Come
Yeah.
on.
Right.
But
Right.
I mean, it makes her human because we all
It
do weird
does.
things at times. We all do
True.
stupid
True,
things.
but
Very
I
true.
mean, hey, yeah.
Maybe
Okay.
not
Yeah.
put our heads in the toilet, but
That's
I
Yeah,
yeah.
I
I can
wouldn't
say
go
I've
that
never done
far.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I've
no.
yeah.
done a
I was
lot of
like, what?
things, but that's one I've never done.
yeah.
I've done a
Right?
lot of
No.
things.
I've actually had bleach in my hair and the water was out. And I'm like, what the heck? Well, not bleach, but it was hair dye. I had to
Uh-huh.
go
Oh
to the corner store, buy big bottles of water, and I
There
dumped
you
it
gosh,
on my
go.
head. But I did
Oh my
not
dang.
do the
gosh.
toilet.
Good for you.
Well,
Woo.
That's what I
she
wanted
could
to
have
hear.
even grabbed the water from the back of the toilet instead of, where everybody's like doing their business.
That's true.
Yeah,
So
that's true
that,
too. Sometimes you got to
right.
make a choice.
She
Ew.
made a
Well,
choice.
Yeah,
let me
she
just tell
did.
you, they say that even after you clean those surfaces,
Yes.
those macrobacteria, that's all there still. Like if you
It's still
black
hanging
light
out.
it, it's still there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she was literally swimming in, you know what?
Oh,
Good
yeah,
thing
All right,
she
I'm
everything.
not going
wasn't
to say
a
the word, but you know what it
Mm,
Yeah,
is.
you
good thing she
know.
hmm
wasn't a blonde that
Chagook.
turned into a brunette.
It's a bunch of chagook.
Yes.
That's what that's called.
But
Chagook.
Yeah.
but
Mm.
Stephen, let's get to the art gallery scene, which of course was a really big kill. What did you first of all, what did you think of all that setup? I mean, it's kind of standard fare in a horror movie, but what
Yeah.
did you think about, the kill and how it happened?
Well, again, I'm all about the setup,
Yes.
and to me, it really the payoff because you can just simply like you can have a kill like Vince in Scream 5. There's a little setup there, but it's pretty kind of unsatisfactory or
Mm-hmm.
unsatisfying. But if you do the setup right and you have that cat and mouse, you have that little bit.
Yes.
See, that's why I love this movie because pretty
Mm-hmm.
much, I mean, maybe correct me if I'm wrong, but essentially every kill that I can remember has that component to it to some degree. Right from the very beginning. It's,
Yeah.
from the body bags right on to the end. So
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I enjoy that whole setup, and we finally get the kill, but the kill never does come. It doesn't come too quickly to me,
Yeah.
and that's what I
Mm-hmm.
love
And you
about it.
don't see it coming.
You
You
don't
don't.
look at that, man.
I mean,
Cupid's
arrows. I mean,
Cupid's
come
shooting his
on.
arrow.
I know.
I
Arrows.
love it, man. It's
It's
like,
perfect.
and
And then
she
in the
goes flying
dumpster,
off. I know.
I
Yeah.
know.
Sally. Sally.
Sally.
Lily was Sally before Sally.
She was.
Oh
She's
no.
the OG Sally for this one.
Oh, that's
But yeah,
horrible.
I love that scene. It's fun. It's fun. I enjoy all the kills, honestly. They're all
Yeah.
really good
Yeah. I
and
thought they were good too.
creative.
Yeah.
Oh, very creative.
Very creative.
Yeah. No, I
Well,
agree. I agree. It was
the
well
hot.
done.
It was hot. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll get to the hot tub kill later, but that.
Oh, that's one of
Yes.
my faves.
Oh,
One of
Well,
my
that's so
faves.
okay.
good.
Well, let's get to that then, Carrie, because I was going to say, did you have a favorite? And I had a feeling that could be it. But of
Yeah.
course, let's talk about that scene because that was pretty crazy.
They did not. The awesome thing is that they drew it out like perfectly. They had her enjoying herself. She thought she was alone. She thought that she had the place to herself. But
Right.
then she hears some sounds, and then she gets the creepy ass freaking Valentine, and
Man.
she knows that she's not alone, and
That's right.
she kind of gets thrown into the hot tub,
Yeah, man.
locked in there. She has nowhere to go. She's
Yes.
shit out of luck.
It's terrible.
Yep.
It's just
Yeah.
it's creepy, like watching him, like he's like, I got you where I want you, and like she's gasping for air, she's gasping for trying to find a way out, and
Hmm.
she's got no lifeline. She
I
has to
know,
just
man.
let it happen.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
and look how he messed with her too. He's
Mhm.
like drilling a hole so she can breathe.
So that he
Mhm.
can
Yep.
stab her
Yes.
with the drill.
Mhm.
So it's
That's
like
Right.
a 2 for 1
It's
for
it's
him.
2 for 1, yeah.
Mhm.
That's so how messed up this killer is. Like,
And
here you can breathe, but guess what? You're gonna
Mhm.
die.
yeah.
I'll come after you. So,
And then to
Can I
top it
just say,
off, throwing it in and electrocuting her.
oh yeah, like
Wow.
show's
Yeah.
over.
hmm
Go
but what I
Coriander.
wanted to say, yeah, was in the very beginning, right, when you had little Jeremy asking people to dance, and she was like, I would rather get boiled in water. And here, her death, she actually, ends up
That's
dying.
Yes.
Yeah.
right.
He
Good point.
remembered.
That
He
is a great
remembered,
point.
Yes.
and he's like, you know what?
Something.
You are.
Yeah, so that right there kind of pinpoints to at least, it narrows down some, who could the killer be?
Yes.
So,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah,
He's like, we can make that happen, babe. We can make that happen.
Yeah.
What's
right?
going on? Gore's in the chat.
Hey, Gore.
How's it going? Nice to see you, man. Also,
Hey.
Melissa's in the chat too. What's going on?
Hello.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on? But Coriander, also, I want to backtrack just a little bit because I also loved and like Steven said earlier, we had a lot of different scenes where there was at least some type of a chase or something going on. Let's go back to this kill. This is the one that I thought was really, really cool. When you have and I forgot her name, but she
Yeah,
was such a
this was
jerk.
enjoyable. Yeah, she
Oh
was.
my gosh. She was such a
Yeah.
jerk. And this was there's a lot of tension in this kill. What did you think of it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought this was a really good one. I mean, it's a really good hiding spot too.
Mm-hmm.
She should have just stayed there for a while instead
Right.
of, they always wait when you think, oh, it's been like 10 minutes. That's long enough.
Yes.
And sure
Yes.
enough, it wasn't long enough. And yeah, she ended up getting killed, and yeah,
Yes.
it was a pretty good kill. He like threw her through glass and then shoved her neck, so that yeah, just like that,
Yeah.
man.
Ruthie, that's who what her name was. Yeah,
Yeah,
man, that was pretty bad. And it's funny because like you said, she had a good hiding space, right? And a
yeah.
lot of times in these movies, like when you come out of that little hiding space, you're expecting that the killer is behind her or right in
Mhm.
the room, but he wasn't. He opened the door and then
Hmm.
must have just closed it. So it was I
Wow.
guess what I'm saying is they had some smart moments in this movie um which showed to me anyways that they understood the audience's expectations and they were able to kind of do some different things instead, which I really appreciate. Now, the one thing we haven't talked about a little bit is as these murders are going on, they're trying to investigate this too. And you've got the cop who's trying to investigate it and so forth. And man, once we get up into the finale, that's just bonkers crazy. But Steven, what did you think about like the investigation of this and the who done it? Were you like when you first saw the movie, were you in the dark about who this could be? Did you have multiple people that you were having as suspects for the killer?
Yeah, I really was, man. I'm completely honest with you. When the reveal happens later on, uh, it was one of those oh my gosh moments for me.
Yeah.
It really
Mm-hmm.
was, and that's what I was mentioned earlier. I was impressed with how they gave us a lot of choices to pick from, and it could have been, man, it could have been one of the girls. It even could have
Mm-hmm.
been one of them, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And because who knows, right, what the motive would have been. But I'm just
That's right.
saying, I felt like everyone, you couldn't trust really anybody. And these guys and the male people that were in this movie dude, they put some jerks in this movie. I
Right?
mean,
Yeah, they
my
did.
gosh.
Yeah, they did.
I was like, I wanted to kill the guys, and I'm not even the one that's sitting across
Takes
from
a
them.
good
Right?
Right?
one.
Was it the Todd, right? Todd or Jason, Jason likes,
Yeah,
bread,
Yeah.
bread and
yeah,
fish and
Just
I don't
Breakfast
crazy. It's
rest.
yeah.
like you
Oh,
it
guys,
that
was.
I tell
dude,
you.
bro, the one
Yeah.
that was with it
He
was
was creepy.
He
wasn't he?
was.
Like
Mm-hmm.
he's like
Those looks.
he's like, so yeah, it's time to get out of here. And she's like,
Yeah.
yeah, it is. Check,
Jason
please.
want
Here's my
dessert.
car. Right, dessert. That's right. And then he's like, he gets the check, and you knew it was coming. He's like,
Yes.
so you had the salmon, and I'm like, oh, here we go, man. Come
I
on.
Making her pay for her own food.
know. It's
Yeah.
like, come on,
And he
buddy.
still
Be
wanted a
better.
kiss at the end.
And he
I'm
was
like,
dressed
Yes.
Ew.
nice too.
bro.
Yeah,
Yeah.
ew.
But I mean, but I love how she got him back, though. The
Yes.
Denise Richards.
Definitely.
That was great. But no, I really was happy with the whodunit aspect. I thought it was this one an urban legend, not to cross the streams, but these
Mm-hmm.
both of these movies, for me, kept me guessing until the last second. I really
Mm-hmm.
felt satisfied because most of
Yeah.
the time, if you figure out who it is, you still like the movie, and that's fine. But
That's right.
I like to be tricked, not tricked, but I like to not guess or not be sure until the very
Mm-hmm.
end. And this one
Yeah.
did it, man. So I have no complaints
Yeah.
on that
No,
aspect.
I agree. And when you have that scene where they're at the police station and they're talking about the suspects, and
Mhm.
the detective is basically asking them, like, who's in your life right now, and who do you know, and blah 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 blah. And when Dorothy was talking about Campbell and not even knowing, him more than a month, I think it was, and not even knowing his last name, and so
Oh,
all of a sudden,
Yeah.
these red herrings
Oh.
are just jumping up all over the place. Uh,
hmm
for you, Carrie, as far as Campbell himself, obviously we know what happens, but was he turning up as a chief suspect for you?
Oh, hell yes. I don't know, there was just something off with the dynamic of Dorothy and Campbell.
Yeah.
Because especially when they were being intimate, he was
Yes.
just a little off, especially like in the shower scene.
That's right.
It just
Yep.
seemed weird. It seemed off to me. Like he was either
yeah.
using her or
Yes.
there was more to it.
Right. Right. Absolutely.
So he was
And it-
definitely on the top of the list. Even Dorothy to me was up there. And
yeah.
Detective Vaughn, was just a creeper, but I wanted him to be on the list. Just because. And even Jason, I thought just because he was a total nutball, I thought that he was somehow involved too. But
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
probably just because he was weird.
Yeah, that is probably what it was. He was super, super weird, creepy as
Mm,
hell. Oh my gosh. Well, as we start to get to the finale of this whole thing and how it all plays out, Coriander, and you don't have to speak specifically if you don't want to, but the finale, how do you think it shaped up? Because it seemed like, they're at the party that Dorothy's throwing, whatever.
Mhm.
She gets pissed off at Kate. They have their little, whatever you want to call it, confrontation moment. And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, similar how we've been talking about these damn Halloween movies, everybody just goes. Like it's dead. Nobody's around. No birds. No, no,
Well, they
no,
lost
nothing.
power,
Well,
right?
I know, but I'm just
Yeah,
saying, it's like everybody
Right.
just scary like a bunch of cockroaches,
they
man.
did.
But
yeah,
what did you what
silence.
what did you think of how this finale was shaping up? Because we know that Dorothy is still alive, Kate's still alive. They asked Detective Vaughn to come and help and all that. So
Hmm.
how do you think this finale shaped up for you?
I thought it was a great finale. I still wasn't quite sure who it was. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Kate boyfriend's at the end here. You know, he was acting weird. I get maybe he had a few
Right?
drinks, but even for a few drinks, he was still acting like shit. I would defend myself like he was going to try to kill me too, just because shit. It was just, yeah, odd.
Mhm.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, this, what can I say? Eventually we get to see who it really is. And, you know,
Mm.
yeah, yeah, thank God, she didn't mistakenly hurt her boyfriend because it wasn't him. I won't give it away, but
Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay. What about you,
I like
Stephen?
the
Would you
ending. Yeah.
Yeah. What'd you think of the finale, Stephen?
Oh man, I love the finale. Man, I'm just remembering it, man, and and the way they chose to reveal who it was. I'm so glad they did it that way
Yeah.
because when that one particular thing happens and
Mm-hmm.
you see it, the first thing on her cheek, first thing I thought was, I said, no, no, it's not. It's not him.
Mm-hmm.
It's not him. And then that camera pans up, and then I'm like, oh my gosh, it's him. It is him. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved it. I've loved it ever since because I
Mm.
did not call it, and that's what I love. I love to be wrong on who done it. It's best. It's the best feeling in the world.
Right. Yeah. The
Yeah.
whole surprise factor is always
Hmm.
such a fun thing, man. I absolutely love that about whodunits. And that's how you
Yes.
know it's really well done. Because it's not easy.
Yes.
It's not easy to pull that off, in a movie. And actually, that was one thing. That's another thing I wanted to throw up here as well.
Hmm.
Jamie had said that a lot of looking back on it now, hindsight being 2020, he was hoping to have cut back on some of the humor and those types of things to really kind of up the ante with the dread. But even that being said, I think it had a really nice pace to it, and everything leading up to that
Hmm.
finale and the finale itself, I thought was really, really powerful. Um, Carrie, for you, let's just talk about the actual finale. Like full spoilers for you guys in the live chat. We're gonna get totally into the spoiler territory here.
Nice.
But Carrie, for you playing out this finale, how it all went down, give me your impressions on it.
So I feel like I love that Jamie absolutely had the story. Like you were still guessing who it was up until the very, very tippy point when you see Dorothy, and I still don't know to this day. Was she forced to put on that costume? Did she
Right,
already have the costume?
Mm.
right.
How did it just didn't make sense to me because I feel like
Right.
she was still alive when she was up at the stairs,
That's
and
right.
then she was shot, if I remember correctly.
Yes. Yep.
Yep.
She was.
So, was she involved? Was she doing her own thing? Or it just, the mystery. Like, I love the fact that they don't necessarily fill in all of the blanks. They leave it for your own imagination
Mm-hmm.
to start swirling around some ideas.
Yes.
And then by the very end, you see the blood dripping on her cheek, and then you're like, oh no.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
He's Jeremy. He's Jeremy. But then it ends. He gets to have his girl, though. So technically, it's a good ending for him.
Oh,
Yeah, for him, absolutely. Yeah.
But he got who he wanted.
Right. Well, and it just makes you, at least for me, it made me think, wait a minute, and it made me question, a lot of what I had just seen, because, I'm sitting there thinking, wait a minute, Dorothy was pissed off and all that type of stuff, but why was she was fully in that costume? So how did that happen? Was it the type of thing, one way that I saw it, and then Stephen, I'll let you throw your idea out. One way I saw it is that maybe she was just so enraged. She saw the costume and put it on, and because you see that scene where Kate has the gun and she's right at the stairs, and you can't tell, or at least I couldn't tell, if Dorothy lunged at her or was pushed at her. It's hard to tell.
Right.
Exactly. So what do you think, Stephen?
I do think it was under compulsion. Is that the right word? It was under that she's in that costume, and I think personally, and again, like what Carrie said, there's an ambiguity to it, which is awesome, because we could all be right. We don't know.
Exactly.
I
love the cliffhanger. We don't normally get that in slasher films. We always get a cut and dry. There's a final girl. She's fine. The killer's dead. We don't get that in this. And you know what? I appreciate that, though.
Yes.
I do too.
Yes.
I do too. And for me, as a fan of the movie, when I watch it, I like to think that she was pushed. It was forced. All part of his plan. And to get all suspicion off him. I mean, it's a brilliant. I just love when you see someone framed and there it is. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, how The Ring ends, where you think it's over with Samara. They found her body. Everything calms down. And you're like, okay, whew, I can relax now. And then you find out, wait, there's more. There's another twist. And this is what I felt like in a similar way with this, because you think you have closure.
Right.
You're like, oh, Dorothy, right? Dorothy's her name, right? Dorothy.
Yes.
I'm like, she was, and they did a good job of setting her up as just, she had such low self-esteem. She hated herself for what she did. And
she's angry all the time.
Angry. She just been
Angst.
That's right. So they did a great job, like, setting that up, and you think it's a red herring. Again, like I said earlier, it could have been one of the girls, but especially her. But I'm like, no, it's not gonna be her. No, it was.
She was envious
like,
of them,
what?
for sure.
Sure.
Oh
totally.
Yeah.
Anyway, I love that. I love that frame up, and I don't think it was a partnership at all. I think it was, again, just my thoughts. I don't think it was. I don't know what he told her or how he got her in that suit. I don't know. But I just think he did and shoved her down, personally. But
she had a motive.
She did have a motive.
Oh,
she had a motive, and they would have listened. Yeah, they would have listened to it, and he would have been able to go scot-free. I bet you he didn't even kill anybody after that, because he got to have his happy ending with Kate.
I bet you're right. He probably was like, he was. That was it. He just went dormant. Like Michael's gone dormant because he he doesn't need to
Are
kill
we going to see
anymore.
him in the next 4 years?
Oh no. Oh
Yeah.
gosh.
That's too bad.
Yeah, that's too bad. Valentine 2, 4 years later. He's-
Although it's much, much, much.
but no,
Oh man.
this is to me, this is a fun who done it, and it was PG-13, which I have to say, this just again proves what and I know Wes Craven's movies were all rated R,
Mm-hmm.
but the point he always would talk about, you don't have to have a gore fest
Or
to have a
nudity.
or
Right.
nudity. Like Wes never showed any nudity, like real nudity. Like no, he didn't,
Yep.
and none of his films. And so you can make a good movie without having to have a bunch of gore, and it's still
Yes.
effective. And this is a great example.
Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
I totally agree. I mean, this movie, it checks so many boxes, and I think it's very intelligent. I think the cast was really, really good, very believable. These two in their roles, respectively, I think they were fantastic. But one other
Mhm.
thing to throw out as well that's interesting is that there was a chance that we would have had like a triple threat like connection crossover, because during the original casting process, Tara Reid was also thought to be playing a role, and Jennifer Love Hewitt was going to play Paige's role that
Oh
Denise
my
Richards got. Can
Ooh.
you imagine that? So you would have had a crossover
wow.
of the triple threat: Urban Legend, Valentine, and I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I
You know,
kind
to
of wouldn't
me,
Dang.
have been mad at that. I would have liked that actually. No
yeah, to
offense to
me,
Denise Richards, but although
right.
Denise really played that particular role, Paige, she played it to a T.
She
And I
did.
don't think Jennifer
Yeah.
Love Hewitt could have, portrayed it as well as Denise Richards.
Yeah, I agree. I
Yeah.
absolutely agree.
Oh, and just one correction. It actually is rated, but my point still stands because there's not hardly any gore in this movie. Like even
Right.
where he cuts the girl's throat in the body bag,
Hmm.
all you see is the knife zip up. There's not even blood,
Mm-hmm.
and
That's
I'm like,
right.
Mm-mm.
you didn't need blood.
You didn't.
It was effective, and
I still
Right.
so
cringed though whenever
oh, I
he
did
like
too.
slices it. I'm like, whoa.
Oh, look at that shot,
Yeah. It was
Mm-hmm.
well
bro.
done because the lighting was very good,
The
and Catherine,
sound,
yeah, the sound, and also the setup. I think Stephen, you said it right in the beginning. The setup of these kills, this one in particular, like
Mm.
as she's trying to evade the killer, you automatically are rooting for her, and she's running around and this and that, and then of course she's in the room, and you think she's going to get away, or if at the very least that she might be discovered and it'll go on a little bit longer, but no, he unzips, she's right there, and slash. It's very
Man,
aggressive in that sense,
mm-hmm.
yes,
No
yes.
hesitation.
just
No,
just very, very well done. I just really, it,
yeah.
it was the type of opening that I thought was very, very effective. It really was. It set the tone for the whole movie for me.
Just something about him, like literally going from body bag to body bag, just stabbing, and
I
then
Yeah.
the look he gives when he's at that very last one, looking at her.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. I agree. I absolutely agree. Now, here's my question I want to throw out to you guys. And I know this is where we'll start to wind it down a little bit. But for you guys also in the live chat, because it seems as though a lot of you folks that are watching with us are big fans of this movie. I'll throw it to you first, Carrie, and then Steven. When you think about this movie compared to Urban Legend and I Know What You Did Last Summer and obviously Scream, what do how do you look at it? I'm not necessarily saying you have to rank them if you don't want to, but just how do you match this up to those other movies of its ilk?
I feel like Valentine definitely stands on its own. It can stand on its own 2 feet. It doesn't need to be compared to anything else.
Mm,
It does, it does its damn thing on its own. I don't feel like Jamie Blanks was like, oh, I love Scream, so I'm gonna make something, close to, Scream, the formula. No, I
mm,
feel like yes, he had a love for it. Yes, he has a love
yes.
for slashers,
Mm-hmm.
but he put his own DNA in it, and it
Mm-hmm.
shows, and it's amazing.
Well said. Well said. How about you, Stephen?
Yeah, that was very well said. I think
My
that
love letter. No.
yeah, that's great. I agree with you actually. I think this is when you look at these when you think back to these movies, you have the screams. I know and I know what you did last summer. I have to
Hmm.
just to be completely transparent. I'm not a huge fan of the movie, which I know it's Kevin Williamson and I know it's got the great cast. I don't
Hmm.
dislike it. I'm not saying I don't like. I would watch it with you, but I'm not a big fan of it, and I think it's only because I coming off of Scream, I was expecting a really satisfying whodunit. For me
Hmm.
personally, I didn't think it was a very satisfying reveal, and the ending. I just wasn't I'm like, oh, okay. But anyway, that's just me. But that aside,
Yeah.
character stuff was great. Kevin did it. I thought that was great. But anyway,
Hmm.
this movie is. It felt like it took kind of like almost the best of some of what we saw in these movies like Scream and the sequels, but it added their own twist, no pun intended, to really elevate the kills, I think,
Hmm.
and the whole framing, the twist ending is so cool. I really think it represents after you get past the Scream films in this era. I think the
Yeah.
Scream films are your top shelf, and then the next shelf below it, I have two movies, maybe three if I really think hard, but I've got Urban Legend and Valentine at that next level, and that's where I
Yeah.
think this is. I think it's a great whodunit, and I told my daughter earlier. I said, "Hey, got a movie we just got to watch all the Scream movies. I got a new one we're going to watch, Valentine, and so we're going to watch it this weekend." And then she'll,
Do
but yeah,
it.
it's so good. So,
It's an
Yeah.
amazing
because
moment.
Yeah.
well, and last thing I'll say, and then I'll be done is when you think about a lot of those movies that did come out after Scream, they tried
Hmm.
so hard to
They did.
be
They
Scream,
tried to
and
Yes,
it's like,
capture the same lightning in the bottle, and they just
no,
couldn't.
they
they
couldn't do
did.
it. They couldn't.
Yep.
I've always felt like this and Urban Legend were head and shoulders above all those other tons of movies that tried to do it. I feel like
Hmm.
these two movies, they did it well. They actually got it. They nailed it, and I think they still stand today. They hold up. So
Yeah.
I
I agree.
highly
Me
recommend this
too.
movie. It's a purchase worthy, as they say.
Oh,
Well,
I own it.
well, and you just beat me to the punch because what we usually do
I'm sorry.
is we get well, and I knew where we were going to go with this anyways. But usually, what we do is we give these movies. We've got one of three choices, and we've got the recommended, meaning that it's excellent. We've got the chance it, meaning that it's okay, and then of course we've got skip it, meaning that it is dark territory, literally the heart of darkness, and you should not watch it whatsoever. So
And not
I'm
the
gonna go.
toy from the 90s.
Right, Gary.
What?
So
I owned to skip it, and it was fun. But anyway,
so I'm gonna go out on a limb, and I'm assuming that we're all on the recommended.
oh yeah,
Oh
All
yeah,
right. All right.
not
hundred
even
percent.
not even a question.
Yes.
No,
Yes.
not at all.
Absolutely. I totally agree. This movie, I think it did a lot of great things. And I think the fact that it was able to be so good post Scream, and not to always go back to Scream, but I mean, hey,
I
it's a legendary, iconic movie
it
by Wes
is.
Craven, and it really set a standard. But I think
Hmm.
this movie being as good as it is, and also being different,
Mm-hmm.
making actual choices to be different from Scream and having that be successful, I think speaks volumes about what Jamie Blanks was able to do with this movie, just like with
Yeah.
Urban Legend. So,
Yes.
it would have been great to see maybe a couple more, movies, of his creativity around that
Hmm.
time. I think that would have been really, really
Agreed.
cool. You
No
know,
doubt. I mean, I don't know. I wonder what he's done since then. I haven't. I have to look up. I have to look him up on IMDb. But
yeah.
all I can tell you is that these two movies. Yeah. Where's the third one? There needs to be a trilogy of Jamie movies completed.
There you
Just
go.
so you know,
There
he's
you go.
very active around February. He loves like on Twitter. He loves talking about Valentine. Like he's so proud of it, and I love
Yeah.
like his love towards that film still.
Yeah. Well, in the
Nice.
chat, definitely is a resounding recommended from Lee and Russell and Ginger Ninja and so forth, Mega Giants and Million, and Val. We definitely agree with you
Nice.
guys. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about that. Well, and I know Coriander was also recommended too. She had to jump out of the chat, but she was a big fan of this movie as well. So I think it's unanimous. It truly is.
Yeah.
But I also want to just say real quick, for you guys in the live chat or for people watching the replay, make sure that if you haven't already, check out the description. We've got the link for Steven's channel, Craving Something Scary, and also for Carrie's channel, Carrie Craves
Ooh.
Cinema.
Thank
Definitely
you.
visit these guys' channel, support
There it
them,
is.
hit the subscribe button, and that would be really cool. We're just going to keep pointing at
I
each other.
keep trying to get it right. There it is.
Mine's easier. All I have to do is this.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yeah.
Yes. And seriously, guys, thanks so much for coming on here. This was a lot of fun, and I'm so glad that we got a chance to talk a little bit about a movie that is fantastic and also personal favorites of you guys. That was
Yes.
Thank
that
you for
worked out.
letting me geek out.
Yes.
Hey,
Same.
no,
Thanks, man. This
anytime,
was fun.
anytime,
This was so
anytime.
fun.
And also for you guys in the live chat, if you haven't, please give the video a like. That would help support the channel, and we'd really appreciate it. Also, if you have not subscribed to the Lethal Collective,
Oh.
we've been on a mission today to get the word out. If you have not subscribed to the Lethal Collective, please do. We are on our journey to 1K subs, and it's a fun time. Me, Steven, Killjoy Jake, and Fate Decided, and we are at 922 subs. So definitely help us out. That would be much appreciated.
You need a Matthew meme or something that says "Get him up."
Get him
Yes.
up. Yes, we did.
Get him
Exactly.
up.
That's right.
Yes. And also, just to throw it out to folks in the live chat, I think there might be one person here for next week, because we always talk about what we're going to do in the next week so that people can hopefully check out the movie. And then when we talk about it, they can talk about it with us in the discussion. Next week, we're going to be doing something special. And I wish Coriander was here, but we've already talked about this. We're actually going to be revisiting the movie that was our very first movie we did for a slasher movie club episode.
Ooh.
And just to throw this out to the live chat, if anyone wants to throw a guess to what that movie is, I think in this live chat there might be one person that I know who might know it because he's been around that long. This was actually on our old channel.
Wow.
But this was the very first movie. It's really the movie that started us off doing this series as a passion project and being stubborn enough to sometimes have a week where we're talking about a movie that nobody knows or even cares to know about.
Yep.
But it's in the love of the subgenre and trying to find hidden gems and learning about all these different slasher movies. I mean, there's hundreds and hundreds of them.
Mhm.
But next week, we're kind of going back to the beginning. And this is a movie that was the very first one we ever did for our first episode of Slasher Movie Club. And it was also the reason I'm going into this long-winded story, I'm sorry, but it was a movie that Coriander had recommended to me and Kill when we had talked about like underrated movies or underappreciated movies. And it's a very old school movie, old movie. And we kept saying, man, we got to watch it one day. We got to watch one day. And then me and her decided to do this series. I watched the movie and I was like, oh my God, you're right. That's a good movie. Very old school, like super old school, but it's a great movie. If anyone in the chat has any guess that they'd like to throw out, please throw it out.
The suspense is killing me. I gotta know
I
what
know.
The suspense is killing me too.
Mm.
Dan might be the only one that knows. And by the way, you can't cheat and look on the page and find out because it's not on the page anymore. But Dan might know, and also our good friend Neil from Neon Black Reviews. They've been around for so long with this series and supporting it every week. It's crazy. But I will throw it out there. Next week, we are going to be talking about a movie with, and Lee says, drum roll.
I know, I saw that. Like in my head, I was going.
We're going to be talking about a movie with a late great actress that I absolutely love. Next week, we're going to be talking about Brian De Palma's Sisters, starring the late great Margot Kidder. And
I've never
Never
heard
seen
of
it.
this.
man,
Yeah.
right? Exactly. And neither had I until we started doing this series, and it was the first movie we ever did. And of course, Coriander had already seen it. She had been trying to get me to watch it for a while. And of course, when we started doing the series, I was like, well, now I have to watch it. And I was just like, wow, this is like, it's old school slasher, like what
Yeah.
the hell's going on type of thing. It's a great
Yeah.
film,
Okay.
directed by the legendary Brian De Palma. So obviously that name should hold weight for a lot of us of a certain age. But that is what we're going to be doing for next week's episode of Slasher Movie Club. So I just wanted to put
Nice.
that
Well,
put that out there.
me intrigued.
What was that?
I said, well, paint me intrigued. I'm intrigued.
You're right.
Yeah.
Dan's like, cool. I haven't seen this in forever, right, Dan? Yes. And as far as I remember, Russell, I know it was streaming on some different platforms. I believe it still is. But it's a fantastic movie. It really is. I'm already throwing that out there. It's a really, really good one. Lee saying, I
Ooh.
haven't seen it either. Yeah. And that's what's really cool, at least in my way of looking at it about this series, is that we've really come across some underrated and underappreciated gems, and it's been such a great thing. Movies like this, and movie like Intruder. Steven, when we did the
Yeah.
watch party on your channel,
Hmm.
and it was like, wow, Intruder is a great 80s slasher movie that I never would have seen otherwise.
Me neither,
Or at
man.
least not anytime soon.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
No way.
So, for you guys in the chat, thanks so much for hanging out. But tonight, we also have some really cool stuff coming up as well. Steven, if you want to let them know about our
Yeah.
special added addition to
I'm
Halloween
telling you,
Fest.
yeah. So, guys, you've responded. You've been faithful. You've been showing up to our Halloween Fest watch parties. So, we decided to say thank you again, and by giving you a bonus movie in Halloween Fest. Was not part of our original map and plan, but we're doing it tonight. The night is young, my friends. Listen, we're just literally getting started. This is my third stream. Which with
Right.
night, this is our third stream
Right?
today, and I've got a live
Bromance is
stream.
still going.
The bromance is burning. Let me tell you, and
Right.
and the flames burn more tonight because at 10:40, I know it's a weird time, but the reason is I have a 1 hour stream on my channel from 9:30 to 10:30 Central, just 1 hour live stream Q&A, and then at 10:40 on my channel, it's a different stream, but it's already set up. You can come to join us. Night will be there, and we will be watching Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, baby. The Thorn cult is on display tonight.
Yes.
Tonight. Paul
Yes.
Rudd, Donald Pleasance, Stones, nieces,
Stones.
Oh,
I mean,
good.
Babies.
babies. We've got the Man in Black. We've got
Oh,
everything is happening tonight on my channel at 10:40 with Night and I going to Halloween Fest. So guys, you've got to show up. I know it's late, but I promise you'll have a great time. It's always so much fun.
Yes.
And I say let's show up, blow the doors down, and finish this Thorn trilogy tonight. 10:40.
Yes, absolutely. And who knows? Who knows? Maybe there'll be more added things. You guys
True.
that are hanging out with us and have been showing up in force, you guys are the ones that are making us say, hey, we need to do another one. We need to do
Yep.
another one, adding on to our original schedule. So, but it's been an absolute blast. It really has.
It has, man.
Yes.
Yes. Yes. You guys, yeah, please come show up. And again, man, it's very motivating when we look and see 40 people on a watch party. That's crazy numbers
It
for a watch
is,
party.
yeah.
That's really is. So
Yep.
we appreciate you all. I know it's late, but it's going to be worth it. It's going to be fun.
Yes. And Val, the Thorn trilogy dies tonight. I love that.
Yes,
Oh,
it
that's
does.
great. Oh man, I love it.
That's
That was
great.
good. Val,
It
you're all
was.
right. Okay, guys, we're gonna head out here. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. And Steven and Carrie, I'll have you guys hold on as we back out of here. But
Sure.
anyways, this was a lot of fun. You guys take it easy. Check us out tonight for Halloween Fest and also for Steven's stream on his channel. And yeah, if you're watching this, if you're listening to this, you are the Nightwatch.
Good
Peace.
night.